Hello and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the top 10 prospects for the Republic of Ireland team in 2020. I'm going to start off at number 10 with Gavin Brady. Most people are aware who Gavin is by now. He obviously signed from Shamrock Rovers to Manchester City at the age of 16. Cost about €500,000 to prize him away from Shamrock Rovers. And the academy that I have there, they're producing a lot of good players through that academy. He's obviously gone on to good things since he signed for Manchester City. He's played for the under-23 team a few times. He's obviously played for Ireland's national team, the under-17s at the European Championships in Dublin. And he's also gone on to play for the under-21s as well in a recent qualifying game, which is in Tallaght, his old stomping ground with Shamrock Rovers. He's also travelled away with Manchester City's first team in pre-season. And I imagine he got to work with the likes of Ederson and Claudio Bravo and so on. And got great experience from being around the first team and with the quality they have, some of the best players in the world. So I'm sure he's learned from the absolute best week in, week out, and it's only going to prove to be very good for him in the future. Number 9, Gavin Kenny at Bournemouth, the former St. Kevin's Boys product, if you rather. He came through at St. Kevin's Boys and has gone on to Bournemouth now and really made a great impression for the club and for the manager. Eddie Howe seems to really like him. He's been rewarded with a new contract there, and Eddie Howe has just said this is only the beginning for him. He's most noted for scoring against Lyon in pre-season and getting man of the match in that game. He's been on the bench a few times in Premier League games, and he's played a couple of Carabao Cup games as well. So he's obviously one to watch as well as Gavin Brady. Then at number 8 is Jagannatha Lokal. Jagannatha Lokal came to light, I suppose, of prominence in the summer with Ireland under-19s as they were playing Euros in Armenia. And at that time, he didn't have a club because he had left Southampton by his own accord because he wasn't getting first team football. So he moved to Celtic after turning down numerous amounts of clubs and thought that it'd be handy enough to maybe get into the first team there and kick on a bit. It was proved a bit difficult. He's had injuries when he first got there and things kind of haven't gone his way. He's been training a lot with the development squad, basically the reserve squad, but he's been scoring goals for them. And rumours are that he is very close to a first team call-up as he keeps on scoring goals. It'd be interesting to see whether he stays there or whether he goes on loan, because he does score goals and there's a lot of clubs looking at him. I know Birmingham and Luton have been trying to get him on loan. So Celtic are reluctant to let him go. So it'd be interesting to see how that one plays out. By the time this video airs or as time passes, he may have or may have not have gone on loan. But I would probably suggest he'll go on loan, but he's a very good prospect and I look forward to seeing how he develops in the future. At number 7, it's Dara OShea at West Bromwich Albion. Dara has been absolutely sensational for the Ireland under-21s. Whenever I've watched him, he's been absolutely brilliant. And I think it goes to show the testament in which his manager absolutely loves him. He comes out publicly hailing him numerous times and, has said at West Brom that the reason that he didn't sign another defender is because he trusts Dara so much. And he actually came out and said that he loves Dara so much, funny enough. But it's great to see an Irish player with a team that are riding high at the top of the championship. It's been great to see his development, and now that he's starting to get a bit of a run with the West Brom team and he doesn't seem to be too far away from being a regular in that team. I think if anything happens to any of their, I suppose, more regular or more senior players, Dara's ready to step in, and Bilic just came out numerous times and said that, and he came out and declared even his love for Dara OShea. But I do think it's not far a matter of time before he becomes a regular in the West Brom defence. Now that may change if they go up to the Premier League. That may change because managers in the Premier League don't like to take risks because they could be so costly in the Premier League. But again, this is something to keep an eye on towards the end of the season. Another centre back we have here in the list is Nathan Collins at number 6. Nathan Collins, he's already captain Stoke at the age of 18. Looks like a real leader. Doesn't look like a fella you'd like to be marked by. I'd say kicks lumps out of you on the pitch. Perfect defender for the likes of Stoke. Just solid. And I think that Michael O'Neill is a very good manager for him, because he'll he's very good at working with players like Nathan Collins and improving them, and he's done so, and we've seen it before in the past. He's even gotten the best out of James McLean lately too. So I think Nathan Collins, and the fact that he's been captain and he's playing regularly with Stoke now, is an added bonus. And I think another one who Stephen Kenny will be lucky to have at his disposal. We're going to have him for a long time, and it seems as though the likes of James McLean have already came out and said he can be anything he wants to be. He just needs to get the head down and keep doing what he's doing. So it's great to see McLean coming out and publicly hailing a future prospect. At number 5, we have Leo O'Connor, another player who left the Premier League for a chance to play for Celtic. Again, obviously going there with better ideas in his head that he was going to get first team football with Celtic, and just hasn't been the case. They've signed a couple of other right backs, and he's kind of became third choice, maybe even fourth choice right back, which for a player his standard isn't really ideal. He's since gone out on loan now to Partick Thistle, so hopefully he'll get the minutes that he deserved. He's obviously capped by Mick McCarthy in a friendly against New Zealand there recently, which he was brilliant in, and even got an assist for Callum Robinson's goal as well. Mick McCarthy himself even came out after the game to say how brilliant he was and that he didn't look out of place whatsoever. So I think if Lee does really well with Partick Thistle now, between now and the end of the season, I think he could be a huge prospect, and I think game time is what he needs at this part of his development. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out, because as I said, Mick McCarthy seems to really like him as well. Number 4 on the list then is Conor Ronan from Wolves. He has gone out on loan a couple of times now. He's been on loan, I think, at Rochdale and a team in Slovakia, DAC or DAC, or whatever way you want to call them. But he was on loan with them, and every time he's came back after playing with them to Stephen Kenny's squad, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's that player that we lacked. He's that Wes Hoolahan mould. You know, he's the player, I think, that makes teams tick, and he's one of those players that gets you off the edge of your seat every time he touches the ball. If he spots an assist or he can pick out that killer pass, he's a brilliant little player. And even Kevin De Bruyne, after a cup game, asked him for his jersey. So there you go. I think Conor Ronan is an absolutely fabulous footballer, and I think he definitely is someone that we need to keep an eye on, especially now he's playing closer to home. He's back with Blackpool, and it'd be interesting to see how he gets on playing for Blackpool in the lower divisions, because they're not really known for playing the Pep Guardiola style, I suppose, in those lower leagues. So it'd be interesting to see whether he gets the chance to showcase his skills, and who knows what could happen with Conor Ronan. If he comes back, then he could get into the Wolves team if he does well, because they tend to play that type of way that he does. So it'd be interesting to see with that one. At number 3, Adam Idah recently made his first start for Norwich and scored a hat-trick in the game against Preston. He's only 18 years of age, but like, we've heard about Adam for so long now that it's hard to believe he's only 18. He has a huge career ahead of him, and he's only going to get better. Again, that's providing game time, but he started, like, at 18 years of age, starting a game against Manchester United at Old Trafford's not bad going in the Premier League. So again, if he can maybe get himself into the team, even if they played maybe a 2 rather than just being a lone striker, and maybe give him some chances, I think that maybe he could start getting some game time in the Premier League and maybe getting a run scoring goals. Because it'll be interesting to see how if he's scoring goals, whether Mick will call him up to the playoffs in March, because he's got the size and the stature. It's just a matter of, has he got that mentality, strong mentality to play for the first team. Now he'd hardly be a starter, but he'd be in contention or in the squad at the very, very least. At number 2 is Jason Knight, who, since he's really got the jersey, he's been making all sorts of waves from the Derby County point of view. So he scored 2 goals recently, and that's kind of when people started taking notice of his qualities. His manager, Philip Cocu, and Wayne Rooney have both came out and hailed him and saying his ability, his engine and his attitude is absolutely amazing and they love working with him, and he just shows that attitude every day in training. And Wayne Rooney says he has that energy that Wayne Rooney had when he was a youngster. So these are all great things to hear about him, and now he's starting to add goals to his game. He is definitely one that, if he keeps up the progression, that he could go on and be a top midfielder, maybe even a top Premier League midfielder. If he keeps up his development, it's early days at the moment, but from what, like Philip Cocu was an absolutely brilliant player with Holland, and Wayne Rooney was one of the best Premier League players of all time. And if these players are coming out and saying it, you'd have to wonder how good he can be, and what they're seeing in training of how good he can be, that they come out publicly and say how good he is. Like Wayne Rooney picked him out of a lot of players to say how impressed he was by him specifically. And I think, as I say, with Derby County and the whole Richard Keogh situation, it might be a good way for them to get themselves back in the good books with Irish people by having Jason Knight there and maybe being their poster boy. They've gone on a really good run lately, and he's been scoring goals and contributing. So there you have it. Number 1, Jason Malone, who I think has been absolute revelations in signing for Millwall. Took a bit of time to get into the team, had been absolutely starring at under 21 level with Stephen Kenny's team. He's just brings that something different in midfield. He's just everywhere. He covers every blade of grass on that pitch. And again, another player who can score. He can do a lot. He can take free kicks, corners, and he just gets about the pitch. Maybe adding goals to his game might be something that he may consider, because look at the success Jason Knight has had since he added goals to his game. A lot more people are speaking about it because he scored goals. I think that's something Troy Parrott actually picked up on. But anyway, I think that Malone has been absolutely sensational, and he seems to be very, very popular at Millwall. All the fans seems to really, really like him. All the players seem to really, really like him. And this is a fella who, at a crucial part of his development, had a horrible injury that kept him out for 14 months. Came back and has just got on with things. Got a new contract with Brighton and was then sent out straight away with Millwall. So he's obviously in Brighton's plans for the future, and obviously in Ireland's plans for the future. He's our Irish under-21 captain. Be interested again to see if he keeps up his development, whether or not he gets the call up to come in March in the playoffs, because again, I go back to that energy that we may need. He brings that something different. He's very good at pressing, as you see. I'm sure you've all seen that goal by now, where he's press, and he sets up the goal for Aidan O'Brien just by pressing. He covers everywhere, and his passing range is very good. He can shoot. He's just an all-round very, very good midfielder, and I think that out of all the players there, I think he's definitely number 1 on that list. So let us know your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, that's been the top 10 prospects, and yeah, let us know who your top 10 are in the comments. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll speak to you all soon. All right.